Hello, our next guest on Halftime of the Football was an AFL superstar. He played over 200 games for the Collinwood Football Club and regularly lit up the skies of the MCG.
Davis at the back. Oh, spectacular leap.
We know him as Neon Leon.
Spectacular mark.
And he's back playing for the Perth Football Club.
So I wanted to stay home in Perth and to be back here at the Perth Football Club. I'm very excited about it.
Leon, it must be great to be home, but are you missing the AFL and Collinwood Footy Club?
Yeah, it's a bit funny when you asked me that question. Leaving Collingwood when I did and making the decision not to go back, I was very, very happy with my decision and very happy and fortunate to be home finally after a long time at Collingwood, and the kids were happy as well. So yeah, but once the season rolled around and the NAB Cup came in and I watched the boys running around, I did miss it a fair bit and sort of didn't sit in front of the TV too long. I had to get up and walk out of the room and because it actually did affect me, which is something I thought wouldn't happen. But yeah, just watching the boys run around and not being out there with them, it was a bit tough to take in, and still now I watch them every week and probably their number one supporter. I've got a lot of my best mates are over there still, so it's hard to watch them. I get very frustrated and I leave the room, but I always get drawn back in and sit down and cheer the boys on.
Did you leave on good terms? And if you had the opportunity, would you actually go back?
I suppose you look at it two ways. Look, I do miss playing for Collingwood and being there with all my mates and that. And yeah, look, if I had my time again, maybe I wouldn't mind staying and playing on. But yeah, as I said before, I'm happy with the decision I made, and I've got a new team to play for now, and a new bunch of blokes that I'm getting to know and getting to play footy with. So on one side, yeah, look, I wouldn't mind still being there and playing, but on the other hand, look, I'm back home where I wanted to be ultimately when I finished footy over in Melbourne, and yeah, look, the kids are happy as they've got a lot of cousins they can play with, and all the families are really happy, and in saying that, I'm very happy as well.
Unbelievable story. Obviously, a young Indigenous boy from Northam ends up at the Collingwood Football Club. Kids dream of this these days.
Yeah, look, it's something that since I could remember, I've always wanted to play AFL, and to be fortunate enough to, obviously grow up in Northam and have two brothers to play with every day of my life was fortunate enough for me to improve my footy, and the challenge was there. My old man taught me a lot about footy, everything I know. So and my mum was very, very, I suppose, had us, like me and my two brothers, very dedicated to our sports and to our schooling and stuff like that. She was a very hard mother, and we're fortunate enough that we turned out the way we did. So, but yeah, look, as you said, coming from Northam, and it was a dream of mine to play AFL footy, no matter where that was, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Draft day came around, and I was sitting over in at home where we were staying at the time, and watching the TV. Every time a West Coast or a Fremantle pick would come up, I'd run in the room, watch the TV and sit there, and my name didn't come out, so I'd actually just drift off again. And unfortunately enough, the Collingwood pick came around, they said my name, so I was sort of shocked, and my mum was over the moon that I've been picked up and all that, and I was sitting there still trying to take in that it was Collingwood and a Melbourne team that actually picked me up, so yeah. And
what was it like, coming from a pretty remote place like Northam, going to the big smoke of Melbourne, and then having to, find a living or enjoy your work and settle in, play footy?
It was tough. I suppose sort of one thing that did sort of help me a bit was we moved from Northam to Perth for a few years before I was actually drafted. So to be able to make that transition, and then it's nothing compares to going to a place like Melbourne and the actual home of footy, and everyone pretty much eats and breathes footy over there. So to be able to go from a place like Northam to ultimately playing for one of the biggest clubs in, if not Australia, the world, looks very surreal and something that took me a long time to get used to.
What was it like after the game when you went up to the club and all the fans were there? Was it just unbelievable?
Something that we tried to avoid. They really do love their footy, and they're very, very passionate. It was always good when we won because they were all happy and that, but if we put in a poor performance, then you always got the usual crowd just giving you a bit of slack in that over the game and how you played and that. They're always they're one-eyed and very passionate about their footy.
Absolutely nails scores it.
Was it tough for you personally?
Yeah, it was. I've had like me ups, I've had me downs, and of course they've been there the whole time, let me know about both. So yeah, in that case, I suppose you just take the good with the bad. When you're up, you get a lot of people patting you on the back, but when you're down, they sort of like to let you know about it as well. So that was just part and parcel of playing AFL footy, and something that I got used to, and something that you just had to take with everyday life in AFL football.
At any stage, when form got a bit bad and things didn't go right for him, did you ever think about coming home maybe and saying, well, I've had enough?
No, not really. It was something that I knew how hard it was to get to that stage, and it was something that I just wasn't going to chuck in and give up on and pack it away. It's something that, I had a lot of family support and whatnot, so the whole time it was always there where I had my family support, and they backed me in and just told me to keep working hard, and that's where Mick was really great for me. Even though things got tough and that, he always went into bat for me and made sure I stayed focused and stayed there with a good work rate to try and turn it around.
Tell us a little about the relationship that you had with Mick Malthouse. It's been talked about a lot of times.
Yeah, look, Mick's been great. I suppose him being in Perth for as long as he was and going to Melbourne the same time as me, it really helped me, and he had the experience with Aboriginal people, and he sort of had a level of understanding of what I'd be going through, and yeah, look, he was very, very helpful for me. Any time I needed to come home or wanted to come home just for a weekend when I was getting a bit homesick, he was fine with that, and he knew that was all part of me being able to feel comfortable there and play some good footy. So yeah, just his understanding of my situation helped me a lot, and yeah, no doubt all the success I had in my footy career wasn't only due to hard work, it was due to his understanding and him being there for me when I needed him.
You're back in Perth now, working with NADA, doing mentoring and helping Indigenous kids. What would you say to a 17, 18-year-old now if they were thinking about moving to Melbourne and playing AFL footy?
Yeah, look, it's not easy, that's for sure, but the enjoyment factor, that you do get out of actually playing at an oval like the MCG and the home of footy, and if it's a dream of yours to play AFL footy, there's a lot of things you have to go through to get to that stage, and it takes a lot of dedication, hard work, persistence, all that. So yeah, look, if I was to say to someone that's looking to play AFL and on the verge of moving to a place like Melbourne, if it's all about footy, then that's the place to be. It's great for footy, and the opportunities are endless, and just make the most of the opportunities if you do get the chance to actually play AFL footy.
How well have you settled in back home, and are you enjoying playing back for the Demons?
Yeah, I think I'm fairly fortunate, where the fact is that it's made not playing AFL football for Collingwood a lot more easier for me. It's something where being in Melbourne and coming back home to where I'm from has made the transition a lot easier, rather than if I played AFL here in Perth with my family and that, and actually retired, I think it'd be a lot harder. So being back here, the enjoyment factor is very, very high of being home around my family. I've been away for 12 years, so to come back now and spend time with my brothers and sisters and cousins and all my relatives is really good for me. I'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and of course Mum and Dad can come and watch me play footy, and I've got my younger brother Robbie down at Perth as well, so he's having a run around in the reserves. Hopefully he can get a league game soon through some good form. But yeah, it's just great that they can come and my family can come and watch us play footy on a regular basis, rather than having a month-long plan to come to Melbourne to watch and having to organise everything to come over to Melbourne to watch me play footy. Now it's just as simple as driving down from Northam and yeah, for a day trip and coming down and sitting on the hill down at Brown Stadium and watching us run around. How
did the job at NADA come along, and was that something you always wanted to do, was help Indigenous kids?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that talking to Perth Football Club, of course Barry Taylor's on the board down there, so yeah, that helped me a lot to come down here, and it's something that they proposed to me, and yeah, look, I've got a real passion for helping Indigenous kids, and not only Indigenous kids, young kids as a whole. They need that support and they need that guidance there. So I'm very passionate about that, and yeah, look, I remember like it was yesterday when Peter Matera and Chris Lewis came to my primary school. I think I was in year 5 or 6. I remember it like it was yesterday, and that was one of the highlights of my life when they came up. I watched them play footy for a number of years when I was little, and for them to come up to our primary school and give us a bit of a talk was very special for me.
You're obviously very passionate about footy. You love your footy. How long do you think you'll keep playing for?
The enjoyment's always going to be there. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing. It's my passion. I love playing footy, and as long as the body's feeling okay and the mind's going all right and still getting a kick, I reckon I'll try and keep playing for as long as I can, no matter what level it's at. You know, I really try hard to help out the younger blokes at the club and help them succeed.
Would coaching interest you? Would we maybe see you one day be the captain coach of the Northern footy team or something?
Not too sure about captain coach, mate. It's something that, you know, I've actually thought about a fair bit since retiring from Collinwood. It's something that hopefully down the track when I finish playing is something that I'll look at to do. I've been fortunate enough to be able to play AFL footy for 12 years under Mick Malthouse, one of the greatest coaches of all time. I've learnt a lot of him. So yeah, look, if I can take that into coaching, if I do decide to do it, then I think it's going to hold me in good stead.